Hi guys, welcome back. This is now issue 9 of Build the Classic Routemaster. So in this issue we're going to be working on the other brake disc, or hub as I call it, and then so we're going to be repeating what we did in issue 7, but nevertheless let's crack on. Let's go through, check all the parts, and where's my knife? There we go. This should be pretty straightforward because we have done one before. Okay, so I'll empty all these parts out. Lots of screws. So we've got, let me sort the screws out first. So we've got some more CM screws. So I'm just going to put them in my pot. We've got some FM screws. And then we've also got some DP screws. Okay, so that's the screws taken care of. I just need to change the head on my screwdriver to accommodate these screws. There we go. Okay, so again, repeat it's a repeat of issue 7. So we've got 9A, which is the brake disc, aka hub. I know I keep saying that. Okay, 9B is the lower hinge joint, which is this part here, and that is made of metal. We've got 9C, which is the the upper hinge joint, which is this smaller hinge. Again, that's metal. Okay, we've got the steering arm, which is 9D, so that's this part we've had. 9E, which is a bracket, which is this part here. It's like an angled piece. We've got 9F, which is a brake lever, which is this one here. And again, it's got that fragile plastic hook on there. Okay, so we've got that. We've got 9G, which is the brake cylinder, which is this part here. And then last of all, we've got 9H, which is a return spring. So without further ado, let's crack on. So, as the last issue, we're going to fit the steering arm 9D and fix it to the corresponding holes on the disc circled. So, you've got this part here, it's the same shape, that's going to fit on something like that. And you can't put it on the, well, you could put it on the wrong way, but it would just look silly, it wouldn't fit. So that only goes one way. And then you've got like this bell that sort of, it looks like a bell end, goes onto those, next to those 3 holes there. Okay, so we're going to be screwing that in with CM screws. I almost forgot my washing up liquid, you know. These are metal screws, so I'm going to grab some washing up liquid. I'm just going to dunk the tip in. And then secure that. So that's one in. And then with the other CM screw, I'm going to go in to the other hole. And then secure those down. Now I'm not going to go in too tight because we're working with plastic parts, but there we go. I'm happy with that. That is gone into place like so. Right, next step, opposite here, we've got a large hole and the smaller hole, and in there we're going to fit the bracket, which is this part here. And the locating pin on that bracket is going to go in the bottom hole, which is the larger of the two holes. Okay, and once that's pushed in, that is almost a push fit connection. It keeps that in firmly, and then just line that hole up at the top for the screw, and then we're going to put another CM screw through to keep that in place. So another double washing up liquid, and then I'm going to go through with the CM screw. And then when that grips, then I'm going to stop. So that's not going anywhere. That's that part done. Okay, so step 3, we're going to need the two parts. We're going to need the brake cylinder and the brake lever, which are these two parts here. So you've got this bit here, and then this part with the fragile pin on. Now you need to have the fragile pin facing away from you and to the left, like so. And then this part front ways, the rear says right, and it's got one locating pin just on the back, so that's going to be away from you, and then you're going to slot that through the groove. Okay, and then it's going to look like that. Okay, and with that in place, we're going to fit that to this. And I always get a bit confused. Right, so the pin is going to fit into the small hole on that bracket. It might be easier to do that separately, but yeah, okay. So the pin's going to go into the small bracket. This is going to sit on the hole, which is this one just here next to the CM screw we just screwed that in with. So I mean, it's probably easier to do these in separate parts, to be honest. So that goes in there, that fits over the hole, and that sort of sits in nicely. And then with the brake lever, that is going to slide onto there. And then there's one locating pin behind this part to fix that into that area there. Okay, so once we've done that, I'm just going to carefully pop that down, and then we're going to secure them in with 2 CM screws. in 2 holes, which I shall go through now. So the first one is just going to go through this large hole just here. Okay, I'm happy with that. And then the second hole is the bottom hole of the 2 on the brake lever. So you remember, we've got the top one which we'll leave open. We're going to screw into this bottom one here, again with a CM screw. And then there we have that. Okay. So the next step is to fit the spring. We're going to be using 2 different types of screw for this, so be careful. And again, as normal, the spring has got the tabs on one side, so this will only fit in one way. You want the spring itself to sit down in between those parts. If you try and put it the other way around, it will go, but in my opinion that sticks up too far, if you see what I mean. It just feels more comfortable and has more sense if the screw fits nicely in there like so. And that is obviously what the magazine is showing, so just be careful when you're doing that. So I'm going to use a CM screw first. So these are the same screws we've been using for the rest of this build, this issue, sorry. I'm going to put a little bit of washing up liquid on there, and the CM screw is going to go into the right hand of the holes on the brake lever. So I'm just going to line that spring up. There we go, and I'm just going to loosen that off. I'm not going to tighten that all the way down until we've got the other one in for the spring. So on the left hand hole, to hold this spring, you're going to want to use a DP screw for this, not CM. Okay, and then that's going to go in the other hole to secure that spring into place. And then I'm going to tighten that fully, and then I'm going to go back and just finish tightening the other one. And that's just to keep that spring into place. And there we have the spring attached, and then it sits in that recess there. Okay, so now that part is done, we're going to focus our attention onto the actual suspension arm that we worked on in issue 8. Okay, so we're going to be working on the other side here. So it's got a slightly different set of instructions, and I think it's because we've done this before. It just summarises what you need to do. I'd say in issue 7 it went into more detail, but as I said, we've done this before. So the smaller of the hinge is going to go on the top, and then the larger one at the bottom, or the other way round. But as you look at the picture like that, that's how I'm referring to top and bottom. So we need to turn this round like that, and then we're going to take the smaller hinge and put that in on the top. So again, you've got a deeper hole on one side and more of a shallow hole on the other. You want to put the shallower hole downwards onto there, leaving the deeper hole at the top for the screw to sink into. Okay, so once we've lined that up, we're going to put that in with an FM screw. Okay, again I'm going to use a little bit of washing up liquid and then just screw that through. And I've done that reasonably tight. And then just work that, because obviously it's a painted part, it starts to get a little bit stiff, and then once you work that a little bit, maybe tighten the screw up a tad more. This feels stiffer than the last one on this side, because this side's really loose. It's not loose, it's solid, but it's got nice travel. So I'd like to get the same on the other side, so just going to work that in. Okay, I'm happy with that now. So that is the top one done. As I say, as you look at it, the top one is the thinner one. Okay, and then we're going to do the same on the other side. We're going to pop 9B in, and again that's going to be secured in with an FM screw. So I'm just going to get some washing up liquid on the screw ready to go. And then when you place this on, you want the locating pin at the bottom. Okay, and then again we're going to secure that in from underneath with an FM screw. And that one is nice and free moving as well. Okay, and then once we've done that, yeah, we're going to then affix the brake disc or hub onto those pins. Okay, that's interesting. I have made a boo-boo and I've put this top one on the wrong way round. But it's not a big drama, I can just swap that round. Which may have explained why actually it was quite stiff to start with. And I will explain why it's wrong in a moment, and I'm just trying to put it on the same way again. So you want the wider hole, the deeper hole onto the arm, and then the screw goes in the shallower hole. Okay, and the reason being is, like in the last one, I should have known this. You've got a keyway on the side of that hole, and that will line up with the key that's in the hole, the receiving hole. Okay, so that will go on like so, and then we're going to fix that in place with 2 FM screws. Again, we're going into metal, so I'm going to use a little bit of washing up liquid. Well, actually, there you go. I was going to say they're all metal screws apart from DP. So that is one in, and then another FM screw into the top hole. Okay, yeah, and I'm happy with that. That's nice and solid, there's no movement in that. Light up and down, and it turns nice and freely. Okay, so that is the completed assembly for issue 9, like so. So yeah, that was it. So until next week, next week obviously we're fitting the other wheel. For me it's in a minute, because obviously I put these videos out weekly. But no, for now, thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and if you wish to buy me a coffee, there is a link in the description below. So yeah, until next week, take care, and yeah.